Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Evening Tea and Inspiration. I am your host, Nikita Asbon, and I hope you have your tea with you. I am happy to be in your company this evening. It's been a couple episodes since I had a guest on the program, and today's episode is dedicated to my male listeners. Yes, I cannot end this series without acknowledging my male listeners. So today, I'll be chatting with Mr. Keston James, fondly known as Kes to many, and we will be discussing life as a single father. Before we get into it, I will allow our guests to give you a brief insight into who Keston James is. Welcome, Kes. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening.
Thank you for being on, Nikita. Well, I call her Kita, so yeah, so you can be hear me saying that. So yeah, a little about myself. Well, first and foremost, I'm a proud father. I have a wonderful 7-year-old boy. You know, I love him to death. That is Tracy. And well, I'm an entrepreneur. I work from home. I could say I'm a founder of Team XZ Community, which is based on holistic development with like health, wealth, happiness. We focus on, generally those main areas. And well, I'm the business owner of XZ Technology, which is like a digital agency, bringing your business into the digital era with like web design, building your business online, marketing, those type of things, among other things. So that's a little about myself. So back to Kita.
Okay, Kes. Nice, nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. So, Kes, give us a little insight into your journey as a single father. Navigating life, and in terms of your job, your career. How do you handle that?
Okay, so I'll like I mentioned, stay at home dad. So I'm home. My son is well currently due to the pandemic home, and since then a lot of schools they went out back out to school, but my son is still online. So the online plus the going to work home, I kind of structure my life around him more or less. So he would go to school. After school, I would like more get into my rhythm of work more or less. But in preparation, like as a father, I kind of like, to be honest, I felt like a father a long time because I have three sisters, but I have two young sisters. One is 10 years younger than me, next one is 12. And, growing up, like when I was in my teens, that's when the first one now born. So I used to help with taking care of her and stuff like that. And so the roles and the responsibilities of seeing about a young a baby, it wasn't strange to me. The one thing I didn't prepare for though was the love that I felt with my son. We just think we know what love is until we actually like some kind of experience. It'd be like, wow, this is love. So it was when I met my son, I was like, wow, okay, I need to make sure he's set. So the responsibility side wasn't hard. The what was I wasn't ready for was more or less the love side of things. So that was kind of challenging for me to accept. And then as I work with it, it was like, the more I get into it, the more I started fill into the role, I should say. I started to enjoy what I do. I don't know if I hope that makes sense.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. You explained it quite well, and I felt what you were saying. And I wanted to know, like, when you got married and had your son, did you put as much effort into fatherhood as you would now?
Now the thing about it is probably, but I didn't notice. My thing is I always look at the result. So if like the effort I do and I'm not getting the right result, I say, okay, I'll just switch up. I'll do things differently to me. So and because the results is what the fruits is the results. So I always remember those things. And so probably I did put in more work now or then, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference.
Okay, okay, Cass. I understand. I hear you. You know what? I know there are both advantages and disadvantages in everything we do on this journey called life. But If you were to share one advantage of being a single father, what would that be?
Okay. Well, my son lives with me, right? So when he lives with me, he stays most of the time here. He will visit his mom. His mom has an input. I'm not gonna say no, right? But I feel responsible for the molding of my son's life, and it's not just it's easy as a father because I'm a single father doing it. It's easier. I could decide, okay, these are the challenges I had growing up. I want to help him develop those things before I could, and it makes it easier when you're single. But I'm not encouraging people to be single, in that way to say, all right, get single so you could create kids better. But I'm doing the best I can with what I have, and I see that being less of a challenge there. I don't know if I'm not trying to endorse singleness, guys or women. I ain't saying that is the case, but yeah, it made things a lot easier for me. Yeah, that's more or less.
Yes, yes, yes. I get you. I get you. I get you quite fine. And I'm sure my listeners are also getting what you're trying to say and feeling you too because who knows, there are other fathers out there who probably feel the same way. So yeah, I understand. And to follow the previous question, what would you say is your greatest challenge as a single father?
One of the things I definitely see as a challenge is now the truth is, and I could be truthful, right? Yeah.
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure.
So the
Please
truth
do.
is, I see ever since I met my son, I see him like myself. And I when I see him, I was like, okay, where did I, didn't have this right, or had these challenges and stuff like that. And when I there are certain challenges with him, I remember those challenges I face. So that was a difficult time for me having to face that reality over again because he now faces those challenges. So I'm now here to help him, you know, develop those challenges too, but I'm developing those things as well. I hope that makes sense. But I more or less try to help him, but I'm helping myself too. And that is a that is a difficult thing. Yeah.
Yes, yes, because they say we learn along the way, we learn as we grow, and certain things that we do, sometimes we may see ourselves as okay, we are doing this for this person in our life, but while what we fail to realize is that sometimes while we are doing what we have to do for our loved ones, we are also learning for ourselves, and we are also healing, and we are also, you know, we are growing. So I understand what you are saying here. And what is the most difficult or awkward question you have ever had to answer for your son? Because kids really say some strange things. So what would that be?
So again, transparency. I'm just trying to be transparent. I'm not like before. I'm not endorsing singleness or anything like that. But
Oh, no,
we
no,
are
no, no.
Trinis, and as Trinis, families fight. Well, I think that's a thing with families in general. So wherever you're from, families fight. So I remember there were times where me and my dad would fall out, and my son will be like, "Why you and Grandpa fighting?" And I had to explain to him about, like, in details why we would have those types of interactions, and I would actually try to figure out how to direct it into something good. So I would tell him, because well, again, he doesn't live with his mom, so I would tell him when that happens, and he asked that question multiple times. I figured out the answer, and I told him, well, that's why you need to have a good relationship with your mom, or spend time and have a good relationship with the people you love. Because if you do take the time to have a good relationship, you will always be fighting with them. So I try to show him, okay, you need to work on things. It don't just fall on your lap to have a good, meaningful relationship with someone. And well, the result of that is, the challenges that comes with life. So yeah, that was kind of awkward for me.
Right, right. I understand, and I like the way you explain that to him, and knowing Tracy, he will he will understand it as well. So I like your approach and how you would answer that question. And as a father, I know you would have fears concerning your son, because this is your son. You see in this little life, and you are responsible for this little life. And you would have fears concerning him, what would happen, certain things. And I wanted to find out, what is your greatest fear as a single father?
So a few years ago, I saw this video. Um, I don't know if you guys see the video too, but it was about this dad, this father and son. They were going in a grocery together, but the way they were going in the grocery together, they were playing more or less, and the father was holding the son from behind him. So the father was walking forward, and the son was behind him. So it's more or less like where they were kind of strolling in the grocery together, but the father and the son was so close together, holding each other. The son was hugging him from behind, and the father was walking with what he could. And as he was walking forward, as he enters the grocery, he slipped and he fell backwards. And as he fell backwards, he landed on his son's head. And this was a security footage. And he instantly like picked up himself and tried to shake his son and try to figure out, okay, what we're going. His son instantly died, and that I think that was even before I had a son, before I had a child. That kind of shake me, and in my mind I was like, I'll never want to put myself in a position where I could harm my son. Even unintentionally. It's like it wasn't malicious. If you notice that in that video, that was again is that security footage. Is that a video? So that actually, I sending some love to whoever that father is, but that must have been really devastating. And he didn't intentionally do that, and I don't want to put myself in a position where I hurt my son even unintentionally. And the thing is, sometimes that's physically, yeah, but sometimes we could mentally damage our kids but through different things. It could even be not doing anything. It could be neglect. It could be mentally, it could be emotionally. And those are things I wouldn't say fearful of because it started off as a fear. But I realized the more you fear something, the more you will try to avoid it. So in
Oh,
my actions, I try
exactly.
to be mindful of it rather than being fearful and avoid it. So, but those are the things that I'm really concerned as a father, as a parent. That's the main thing that's be around my mind. I don't want that to ever. I don't want what I do to harm my son, and that's why I even do things to be better in myself because, like everything else, we follow demonstration. We follow what we see. It's easy. You don't just follow a new path and do a new thing. That's actually something people doesn't do normally. That's what causes entrepreneurs and pioneers and those types of things. That is hard to do. What we do is we follow the norm. We follow what we conform and we conform to what we see. So I try to do the same and I try to be better in myself. So my son will be easy. It will be an easy example for him. You know.
Yes, yes, yes. Great answer, great answer. Well said, Cass. And what 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 was your happiest or proudest moment as a single father? Because I know there would be many. Although your son is only what 7, I know there would be proud moments. So I would really like to hear, and I know my listeners would like to hear some of those moments as well.
So this is the thing. You said it. You hit the nail on the head. That's saying that right? Yeah, saying that right.
Yes,
You hit
you
the
are.
nail on the head. It can't be a one moment. the truth is, there's so much things my son is doing, and I just feel proud. Just today, I know there's like so much different things that he did, and I'm like, it warms my heart now. But I can tell you one thing, a simple thing as, my son just tell me I love you, like probably 5 to 12 times for the day. You know,
Oh, that's sweet.
he just do those type of things, and it's make me feel like it's make my job as a parent easier. It's make me feel, hey, this worth it. you know.
Oh,
So it's
yes,
because
it
there are times
certainly
where it's
is.
hard. There are times where it's challenging, and when he does those little things, I feel proud. I feel happy. A simple thing as I love you, daddy. A simple thing as he will ask questions, and I'll know that okay, yes, he's paying attention. Yes, he's learning these things. Yes, he's developing these areas. He's showing even concern to me. He always tell me he like to be a helpful person. He doing stuff and he's like, "Hey, I'm very helpful, daddy. I'm a helper. I'm a helpful child, and yeah, helpful children. God love helpful children." And he's like, I introduced him to WhatsApp on his tablet so I could communicate with him, and he discovered how to put up statuses. Now I am his only contact. Me, his mom, and his godmom are the only three contacts. And his WhatsApp status is I love God. God love to help. God love helpful people. God doesn't like bad people. I do not want. I always want to help people in everything. And I like, where does child? How do you screenshots? It's like I screenshot those things. I was like, where does child learn these things? And those are
From
the
his
little things
daddy,
that
of
helps me to
course.
be proud of that parent. And I know you guys will have the things where when it happens to you, you're like, yeah, this with it. They're stressing you out, They hire staying up late, they hire doing their project or some kind of out of time in schoolwork. But when those little things happen, you just be like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's worth it.
You have me laughing, Cass. Out of time and schoolwork. Don't let the teacher hear you. I hope she's not listening. And as we get ready to wrap up, as we wind down, what is the best advice you have ever received as a single father, and from who? Who gave you that advice?
All right, so best advice. That was a hard one because when you said that, I was thinking about it, and I really no. This is the thing, it's there's no shortage of information. A lot of times we know the things what we're supposed to do. We know what we have to do. So you can't say it's a tip or this or that help you to become a better parent. Of course, there would, but what made the difference for me was really um the support or the guide or the somebody showing you some form of encouragement.
Right, right.
That made more of a nudge to me than you giving me instructions. Because you could Google instructions. And
True,
when
true.
people say things and they show interest in me, particularly with my son, I feel encouraged. Or even they would say, you're doing a really good job. And I'd be like, really? It's like, yeah, most people do that. And I was like, I do see it. And but others that's how it's with me. I working on me. I take the time to try to appreciate myself too. Because sometimes, we just always take ourselves for granted. That's something I know that is often challenged and we have to train ourselves not to do. But when certain people interact with me, they would be like, you're doing a real good job with here and here. And I was like, okay. Or I would hear some type of support because I'm doing this and that the other. And I didn't know that struck them in that way. I didn't know they would look at it like that. I just see myself as doing my job. People would make some comments and be like, they commend me. And I'm like, why? I doing my responsibility. So, but it makes a big difference. Those little things, those little nudges, it actually makes a big difference in your life. So, those are the things I could see. Rather than any tip or guidance or instructions, those are the things that more move the needle for me.
Great, great, great. Yes, yes, yes. I understand quite well. And as we talk about advice that you have gotten, or things that people have told you along the way as a father, as a single father, more so, as we wrap up, I wanted to ask you this final question. What advice would you give to single fathers out there?
So again, it worked for me. So I would say the same. I'm just giving a reminder. It's not so much advice, but just to let those fathers know, or whoever you are, a single parent, sometimes we take ourselves for granted, and we take what we do for granted. Over we see things bigger than they are, and we see ourselves so small, and we don't see the difference we make in our lives, or if even in our kids' lives. Do not sell yourself short. Take the time, take a step, breathe, and realize, what you are doing. You are making a difference. Sometimes you just need that reminder. Sometimes you just need that encouragement, and that show of support. It's really difficult to see it because familiarity breeds contempt. Sorry, but you are really making a big difference in whatever you do, however you contribute to your kid's life, and whoever life that you have been interacting with. You have impacted somebody in some way, and just knowing that, it gives you a refocus into to seeing something to be grateful for, and not just looking at the problems in the world. So that is my contribution there. That is the best way to go about it, because the good comes with the bad. You can't just look at the bad situations alone, or the challenging situations, and you can't ignore the good and the bad is together. So in the bad situation, there is something to be grateful for, and just helping somebody see that, it actually would make a difference on your mindset, on your mentals, on your stress, all that headache. Just a shift in perspective, you would start to appreciate that's right, things that are right in front of you. And that's my advice I could give for anybody.
Wow. Well said, Cass. Well, after Cass said all those things to you all, there's nothing I can see to end this program but, you know, well, just second what he said. I would just have to say, I second that because I am not a single father. And Kes said it quite well. So, I hope you enjoyed this evening's program. And I want to encourage you to stay tuned for the few couple episodes that I have coming up, because we are slowly coming to the end of this series. And I want to say thank you so much to my listeners who continued to support and listen. I just want you to have a good evening and hope you enjoyed evening tea with us. Bye.